Today we're going to be just revisiting the S21, and this phone, it's currently on September 1st security patches, and it will, continue to get security updates. Of course, the last majorOS update was WinUI 7, and it was a very good update. We did a whole video when it first came out, and it has been a really, good experience to use here. Everything has been running very smooth, like the animations and everything like that. So I've been pretty impressed with the update. I'm curious to see how you guys are liking the update now that some time has passed here, because I really think the animations, I mean, it is pretty much on par with a lot of the newer phones for the most parts. Yeah, can you see like a hiccup here or there, but I mean, so far this phone has gotten better with time. So that is one thing that I really like. So you guys can see just very smooth. The back of the S25, you guys can see I have from I guess like a case or something like that. But this one is kind of beat up a little bit. You can see around the camera as well. And this is when Samsung decided to put a plastic back on the phone, which wasn't horrible, but and then they, because the competition, they went back to the the glass and metal. But the phone doesn't feel cheap. It has metal sides, so it still has that kind of premium looking feel. The camera is still metal, of course, and it's IP68 dust and water resistant, and it's a kind of a lighter phone for sure because of that plastic at 169 grams here. The plastic, if you go on eBay and just look at a lot of phones, a lot of people, they crack the phones up, but you got this plastic on here, you don't really see these all cracked up, maybe on the front. But yeah, so I think hardware wise it still looks fine. It's not a horrible looking phone by any means. And one thing about the S21 is that this one is kind of taller than the S like 22 and 23, so it has kind of like that taller kind of feel. It's not as, I guess, wide. You still have a very nice looking panel on the S21. It's a very vibrant, colorful screen here, and it is a 6.1 inch dynamic AMOLED display. It is a 120 hertz panel, and then it is also it does have 1300 nits peak brightness, HDR10 plus, of course. And yeah, the screen looks great. It's 1080p resolution, 421 for the PPI, so the icons and text and everything still looks pretty good. The screen to body ratio is not terrible on here. It does have around 87% screen to body ratio, so the bezels, even though they're a little bit thicker, I guess, but still it doesn't look bad. But yeah, I do really like the display. I would say every time I pick this phone up, it just has that that super vibrant look, which is something that I really like. And like I said, everything looks crystal clear on the S21 screen here, which is something that looks nice. I would say probably the only thing that's really aged about this display is probably it's just not as bright outdoors in direct sunlight. Now I do want to talk about the Snapdragon AAA processor. This processor is not a processor that a lot of people like. So it has 128 gigs of internal storage. I believe this model is 8 gigs of RAM. And yeah, so it's 8 gigs of RAM. This model is a lot smoother. I believe there's a 6 gig of RAM version, but this 8 gigabyte version is very smooth. So when you're just doing your normal stuff on your phone, it's able to keep up really well. It's able to keep up really well with multitasking and just the animations in general here. So I would say the AAA processor is not terrible, but where you kind of run into issues with this phone is that it can heat up when you're doing stuff like maybe running GPS a lot, or you're taking video a lot. You'll notice this phone get pretty hot. Even just not really doing anything on it, it can kind of warm up for some reason. So that's like the main thing that a lot of people don't like about just the S21 phones in general, is they you might have a problem with stuttering if you're a heavier user. If you're a lighter user, I wouldn't necessarily be worried about that. It's pretty consistent, as you guys can see, which is just going throughout the phone here and going throughout the OS. It's not laggy or anything like that. I can just do my regular stuff on my apps perfectly fine. But yeah, I would say heat is probably the main thing a lot of people don't like about this phone. And for you guys to reference here's the Wildlife Extremes, so nothing crazy here. And we can hop into PUBG, see if it's still running at it should be still running at 90. In PUBG here, we can still play at 90 frames, you know, on the Snapdragon version. And yeah, it's still pretty smooth. And like I said, you might run into some heating issues, but I mean, this is very smooth. Performance looks very good. The graphics and everything still look great on the S21. And like I said, I really love the display here. So I mean, gaming works just fine on here. Like PUBG, Call of Duty, you know, if you're not playing for like a crazy, you know, long time, you're just, you know, trying to, you know, kill some time or something like that, then this is perfectly fine. I don't see it lagging or glitching up or anything like that. Let's see how it does when we actually land. And it's not getting hot. Like I said, it's warm, but it's not hot. So every time I look at the comments, that's like the main complaint. And I do feel like standby time has gotten better with this update as well too. It's not draining for no reason like it used to. Because I used to leave this phone and you would lose so much battery, just not even touching it. So I think they've done a good job with that. Yeah, it's not laggy at all, guys. It's perfectly fine. So yeah, you could definitely do some light gaming in here. The speakers sound at max volume. So just like a lot of these kind of smaller phones, you know, the overall sound quality is good. It's just, it does lack in the bass department. You don't get that kind of full sound. Like I can hear the kicks pretty well, but the overall 808s are, you know, basically not even there. Yeah, so overall the sound quality is okay. It's not terrible, but you're not gonna get like that full sound. Speakers, the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner does a very good job. I never had an issue with it. Done a pretty good amount of comparisons with the S21, and I would say the cameras have aged okay. My biggest issue with the cameras is the way Samsung used to do their image processing on these older Galaxy phones. You could really, you know, just tell by the color that it's just kind of off. It'll make things that are green extremely green. It'll make things that are red like extremely red, or something that's pink, it'll just make it super pink. And this is all in good lighting. So I mean, you can get a good shot out of the S21. It's just the color can look kind of weird. And then if we put this phone in pretty much any type of low light, it will kind of fall apart. And yeah, it just won't look as good. Sometimes you can have overexposure problems. And like I said, it just looks very soft, you know, in low light conditions. But some of these shots look pretty good, especially with the punch in with that telephoto lens. It looks pretty solid. It doesn't look bad. But I would say that the cameras are aging, you know, basically how you would expect them to age here. It's nothing really incredible. The video also, it looks okay. It has kind of like that digital look. It doesn't look that natural. But yeah, the video is okay. You know, you can zoom to around 30 times, which is pretty decent. And you have a 12 megapixel standard, 64 megapixel telephoto lens, and you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24, and you do have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. But I would overall say the cameras are okay. Battery performance on the S21, again, it's just gonna be okay. I think standby time has gotten a lot better, so that is something that I really like. I'm, you know, curious to see you guys' battery performance, how much screen on time you're getting. I would say for me, you're probably gonna get around maybe max 5 hours of screen on time out of this thing. And I'm talking about even if you put like a new battery in it. I think it's, you know, kind of difficult to get 6 hours of screen on time out of this phone. But yeah, so it's not bad. It's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt charging. You have wireless and reverse wireless charging. So it's just kind of okay. I'm assuming, you know. So what do you guys think of the S21? Do you guys have an S21, and are you planning to upgrade? And I mean, the phone still feels, you the phone still feels pretty modern. Like even the updated Gemini is something that I use a lot, so I'm glad that that's there. But a lot of the other AI features I don't even use, so I don't really care about that. But what do you guys think? Are you guys planning to upgrade your S21? I would say probably the main reason why people probably upgrade is just the camera quality. But let me know what you guys think.